Yo, is the mic on mic? And turn that mic on mic and pour us another one. Let's do it right though, Mike. We feeling nice though, Mike. Gather round, and turn that mic on mic. And turn that mic on mic. Yeah, Garage Drinks with Mike. Woo!
Daren Kamali. Hey man, thank you for coming.
Hey son, thanks for having me, brother.
It's very cold in my garage today. It's in the middle of winter. But as your per your request, bit of Pinot Noir, warm us up.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Not bad, eh?
Nice. Thanks, brother. Nice and warm.
Thank you so much for coming out. Coming out to the south side. You've bought me a gift here. Vunimaqo and Me?
Yes, Vunimaqo and Me. Yeah.
This is... Talk to me about this.
This is a collection of memoir poems, bro. I just launched my third publication of poetry. So I write poems and stuff. And that was launched in April by Coverball Media. And it's been fresh on the market. So it's at Unity bookstores at the moment. And I'm doing like a poem every day for Viti, going through the COVID stuff at the moment.
I've seen that online.
Yeah, so I'm up to my 33rd day today as well. So and I'm just doing this support to Viti, and since the book is not back home, so they can always look online and some of the poems are there live.
Ah, right. Yeah. So you do a poem every day?
Yeah, from the book. So
from the book. So how many poems are in
There's about 41 poems there.
41 poems in the
I'm
book.
Up to 33 at the moment.
Ah.
So once they just sort of scroll through my all those days, they could always just touch on different poems. And
it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's about growing up in Fiji, brother. 17 years there before coming to Aotearoa, New Zealand. So
you and me both.
Yes,
17 years in Tonga.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, so similar thing.
Yes,
and I went to Wellington and did 7th form there.
Yeah,
and then I moved up to Auckland.
I'm just gonna move this a little bit closer to you.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to just move it just a little bit closer?
Closer.
There you go. So you did 17 years in Fiji.
In Fiji, brother. Yeah, so probably like you.
Very similar. Yeah. Why New Zealand?
Mum worked here actually, bro. For at least 7 years before I could come. Because of the the political stance of Fiji and Aotearoa. But yeah,
the political stance of Fiji and Aotearoa.
Yeah, in terms of migration and stuff like that, I guess it's easier for other islands to come here. Well, it's probably easier now for Fiji to come here, but back in the early 90s when I first came.
Is that right?
Yeah, so it was still very fresh about what was happening in Fiji too. So mum worked here, and that's how I was put through school.
This is to do with the coups that were happening.
Yes, at the time. So
yeah.
And at the same time, my granddad we grew up in the barracks in Fiji. So my granddad was a soldier in the Fiji military forces, and that's how we sort of came to stay in the barracks. And most of the Vunimaqo and Me is the mango tree outside the barracks.
Right.
And sort of like to sort of try to take the voice as well of the Vunimaqo, telling stories,
Vunimaqo, that's mango in Fiji.
Mango tree. Yeah.
Mango tree.
Yeah, so Vunimaqo and Me is Mango Tree and Me, and that's a mango tree collection. So memoir poems, bro. So like characters that stood out for me, even like Harry the grass cutter, who goes every day, cuts the grass, and makes his money out of that, and put his children through school and all that kind of stuff. Another guy who goes and drinks kava, catches the first bus into town and catches the last bus home. And even the wild dog Aki, who bites everyone. And, he's our family dog, but I'm scared of him as well. This guy, man. This dog, man. Yeah, so just things like that.
Are these true characters? True characters that you grew up with, or they are characters that you created?
No, they are actually
actual people.
Yeah, from the barracks. So there's like 40 barracks on top of the hilltops of Tumbo Street, and our one was 27 Tumbo Street. So 27 features quite a bit in the book as well.
Yeah.
My grandfather was very militant, and he was a spokesperson for. So the name Kamali Eli is actually Futuna, Wallace and Futuna. So my great grandparents eloped from there to Fiji about 4 or 5 generations ago. early
Is that
1900s, and that's how we come to stay there in the old capital of Levuka.
Oh my God, that's a story in itself.
Yeah, so
Your great-grandparents eloped from Wallace and Futuna into Fiji.
into Levuka, the old capital, and worked on the copra plantations there. And my grandfather was born there, and then mom was born on the mainland, and myself. And then from mom's side,
did their parents not agree with them getting together? Their families not agree with them being together?
Yeah, different hierarchy, bro. My great grandmother was
Different social classes?
Yes, so my great grandmother from Uvea, Fale Lavaki, Catalina, they were from a sort of chiefly side, and then Kamali Eli Taisi, my great grandfather, was from Futuna. He was a canoe builder.
Okay.
So they couldn't get married in Wallace and Futuna, so they sort of eloped to Fiji.
Wow.
And that's how we come to stay there too. And most of the Kamalis in Fiji, well, all the Kamalis are Uvea and Futuna. Yeah. So so it's from my dad's side, the Fijian connection, and then mom's side is the Samoan connection as well, because of her mom coming from Samoa to Fiji,
right,
and to study there, and also met my great grandfather who is Scottish, who was building in the.
You're a mixture,
bro.
You're a real
so
mixture.
Full-on mix, yeah. So and grew up in Suva, and very militant. My granddad, cultural person, and also very Catholic. So those three elements really grew us up, and so it's very mixed. Growing up there too.
So when you're growing up in Fiji, what language you speak? Obviously, you speak English.
Yeah.
But what other languages were taught to you?
Fijian. And there's Indian schools there too.
Yeah.
So some people speak Indian, and there's Rotuman, because it's under Rotuma, Fijian Rotuma. But I get the gist of a little bit of a few of them. But Fijian was taught as well at school, and then we used to play with all the Fijian kids in the neighborhood as well. So so mainly we speak the Bowen dialect, which is the common dialect of Fiji, because there's over 300 dialects in Fiji. So the common dialect that we speak is the Bowen dialect.
Bowen. How do you spell that?
B-A-U.
B-A-U. Bowen dialect.
So it was an island there, and the chief, the Ratu, was Thakombau. So he was a warrior back in the day. And that's how they connected with Maafu and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we speak that common language, and I guess, But different villages have different sort of...
different languages have different dialects.
Yeah, the dialects. So they even, like some will take out the K. So you'll have Vina'a instead of Vinaka, kind of stuff like that. And
Silent K.
Yeah, so silent K. Or even a W, like Vinaqua.
Wow.
Different, Nawa, you can hear all that kind of sort of dialects. I guess when you go towards Melanesia more, there's more, sort of that kind of thing happening.
Yeah.
But it's interesting growing up in Fiji. And
tell me about that. Did you enjoy growing up in Fiji?
Oh man, it was awesome fun, bro. 8 years at Mara's Brothers School, and I went to Chinese high school, yet in secondary.
Chinese high school?
Yeah, bro. So there's a lot of Chinese in Fiji as well. And those guys, they could speak all Indian, Fijian, Rutuman, English, Chinese. But these guys, they wake up in the morning, they go to the markets as well, same as the other islands, and very business-like people, and selling their crops and all first thing in the morning. Yeah, the
Asians are like that across, I think, the whole Pacific. They're very
that's right,
business-orientated and very hustlers, man. Hustlers.
Even when I went to Tonga, they're speaking to you in Tongan as well. They're very good with the language, and they know how to do business. They know what to cook, for us as well.
They still do here in South Auckland. This is amazing, A lot of the island takeaways and stuff is run by Asians.
They know how to cater for us, bro.
Yeah. Well, they know how to make money.
That's right. That's a main thing too. Yeah.
And so your upbringing in Fiji, did you enjoy your teenage years?
Yeah, bro, it was fun, man. I guess I enjoyed it too much. And my grandparents was like, okay, it's time to go to your mom, bro. You had enough time here in Fiji. Getting out of control, you better go.
So you stayed with your grandparents over in Fiji?
So my grandparents pretty much brought most of us up, myself and my cousins, my first cousins.
Right.
So I grew up with 7 of my sisters from my mom's daughters. So
you got 7 sisters?
7 sisters. So they're around the world now.
Right.
But we all grew up together. Because all of us were like fatherless, and our grandparents were like the stable household, and they were the ones who held us together. And so mom worked overseas, and that's how I was put through school and stuff like that. Otherwise, I would have probably be the same thing as my granddad, joined the army, and because most of them go to England as well, go to the British Army,
Because there's that link between the
yeah,
Fijian military and the English military,
and the
isn't there?
English, yeah. So yeah, most of them are there. I think there's over 5,000 Fijians in the
Is that right?
British Army at the moment, and peacekeeping as well, different parts of the world. And yeah.
Did you ever have any inkling or any part of you that wanted to join the army?
I guess when I was growing up and seeing my uncle and my grandfather wearing uniforms and carrying guns and those M16s and stuff, I was like, oh wow! Especially during the coup in '87, I was 12 years old, so wherever you went, there were soldiers everywhere, and sort of felt like, oh yeah, they got the power, they had the gun, and yeah, so I thought, well, yeah, maybe that'll be a way to go. I mean, there's always an option, and a few of my cousins from the barracks has become soldiers as well. So yeah, but until I came, and then Mom didn't want me to do that as well.
Okay.
So yeah, she wanted to get me out of the barracks, but not to join the army or anything. Just mainly come to New Zealand, and that's how I ended up here in Wellington in '92 to '94, and then I moved up to Auckland, and that's where I sort of started the arts and stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
it's fascinating. A lot of my classmates from Tonga ended up joining the military, and not just for Tonga. Some of them, because after sixth form in Tonga at the time, there was no seventh form.
Yeah,
everyone pretty much just goes across the world, and some to New Zealand, some to Australia, some to America, all the way across. And so I got some of my old classmates that have done tours in Afghanistan, Iraq for the U.S. military. Pretty crazy, and some of them in the U.S. Navy. I know a guy that was a year below me at Tonga High School. It's Tongan. He ended up joining the UK military and becoming a sniper in the Green Berets.
Yes, yeah. So most of
crazy,
them are
right?
Yeah,
crazy
special forces, and
people are talented, man.
Oh man, you hear some good stories, I mean, most of the guys I grew up with, they went to Sinai, Lebanon. Even my uncle. Most of those places for a year. They go a year at a time doing peacekeeping, and so that was like a sort of the norm. All the boys in the barracks wanted to grow up and I want to go to Sinai and Lebanon, and because of the stories as well and stuff like that. Yeah, but even now, my uncle's still in the army, still in the Fiji military forces. He's been there for over 40 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been everywhere, even Baghdad, and done as like a private bodyguard as well sometimes. Just some way to get their money too, and but so much happening at home.
I remember that. I remember growing up in Tonga and always knowing that that Fiji was just different. Fiji's political
stance,
was always quite different. And I remember what was the name of the first guy that did the first coup?
Rambuka.
Yeah,
Sitiveni Rambuka. My grandfather was working for him actually. My grandfather had retired. I wrote it in the book as well. He had retired, but he was called back in 1987, and that's when I was like 12 years old as well. And and he was in the military intelligence for Rambuka, so writing reports and stuff. So subconsciously, I think that's where the writing came in for me, because my granddad had the only typewriter in the barracks.
Right.
So all I could hear was in the back house every evening.
Clack.
And and until I come to New Zealand, then I start to realize, oh shucks, actually my granddad triggered that, but he wasn't a poet. He was more of a reporter, sort of, military intelligence kind of dude.
Oh, he might have been writing those real descriptive reports.
Oh, he used to write a lot of letters to me actually when I first came. There was no emails or anything like that. So back in like 91, 92, he would write to me, and he was very deep guy, and very sort of stern and like a Christian as well, and culture. So very
but quite a strong father figure as well.
So he was like my dad. He was my dad because he brought me up actually. Brought all of us up with my sisters as well, my 7 sisters and a couple of other cousins who's in Australia. So we are all over the world, like your family as well, and But it's been good teaching. My grandma just passed away 2 years ago now. Her anniversary is actually tomorrow. Her passing. So I dedicated the book to both of them. Because sort of did it for my master's degree writing. I wrote a draft.
It's been published really well. I like the pictures and all the artwork that's gone into all the pages as well.
That was done by Coverball Damon
Coverball. Yes.
And John Tapu. So
what a great gift, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
No worries, bro. You're most welcome, man. Yeah, I've been admiring your show as well online. I've been watching it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Mucking around in my garage.
Yeah, and keeping it real. I mean, having the wine or whatever.
Yeah,
I
well,
guess
it's not really real having one of these in the garage. But
that's good.
That's my wife. That's my wife wanting it to look civilized.
That's awesome, man. I have to get one of that too, so it can look civilized.
Because normally it'd be just probably a couple of coffee cups and a bottle of wine.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, man.
So good having you here.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
Just talking about Rambuka, I was thinking, because Fiji is still under Bainimarama, is that right?
It's Bainimarama now, yes. Yeah. So, Ferengi.
What's that like? Like, I mean, for us non-Fijians and what we don't know from what we see from the outside or from what we see from what the media portrays. I don't know, because sometimes I think like media's all shit, man. Like they wouldn't really know what the real story is inside.
Yeah.
So the only people that could probably really tell us is like actual Fijians. What's it like having? Because he's been running the country for a lot of years now.
A long time, yeah, since Spate, eh? So that's 2001, 2002, maybe, yeah. But it's really.
Is
hard,
it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
Bro, myself, I get mixed feelings because I've been here 29 years, brother. I don't stay at home, too long. I go back for holidays and stuff. But knowing my family there as well, it's hard for them as well. It's a different government, Fiji government, I must say. It'll be hard to take him out as well because Fiji, we have our soldiers there, and we can put up coups. If if what happened to Samoa, if they had soldiers, they could have done the same, with Samoa. But because he didn't have soldiers, that's why the coup didn't work out too well. But that's probably Fiji's sort of politics behind the coups that's happened in the past.
Fiji's always had quite a strong military presence.
Yeah, it's always been mostly martial law as well, from way back. Yeah, so
why is that? Why can the people not decide?
I don't really know, my bro. I mean, I guess it started back in '87, and I was 12, eh?
Yeah.
So I was still trying to get my head around.
And it's always been like that since, hasn't
so
it?
it's always been like, for me, yeah. I grew up in that sort of style of fashion of politics, and and it's just been like that for me growing up. And then I come away, and then it's still the same for our people back home. And I think it's almost 35 years now. And we've had 4 coups within that time, and it's just it's hard to say what's gonna happen.
If anybody that's listening doesn't understand what a coup is like when one person in power,
dictatorship,
takes the military and overthrows whoever's currently in power.
Yeah. So you don't have now you don't have that freedom of speech and expression as well. And if you try and practice it in Fiji, and if it's not good enough for them, then it's gonna be unfortunately they'll cut it down and send you out of the country, and most of our people from home, they're
excommunicate people.
They're not allowed back home. I know people.
Serious?
It's not allowed back in Fiji as well. Yeah, definitely, and Fijians as well.
And these are people that would speak out against whoever's in power,
and still speaking out in public and in social media and stuff like that. So they're totally.
You saying anything like right now, would that be deemed as?
That's why I'm really trying to choose my words as well. And
I was wondering.
Yes,
I understand.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah, so I can't just go straight
That's
up
pretty
and say
strong,
I hate this person or I hate that person, because it's gonna just go back, and my family's back home as well. So
and it affects them as well.
Yeah, so that's why I really keep trying to just keep my family safe. That's the main thing. Yeah.
Do things happen to people overseas, to their families back home, if people overseas speak out like in public?
It could happen like that too. I mean, but some people still do, do speak up, and I know it's hard for their families back home, and and they get dealt to too. I mean, if somebody's talking about the man in the pub, and then somebody just tells him, and he'll come down and deal with you. He'll take you up to the camp, and he'll do stuff there. If you didn't have to put it on, but so that's normally like,
damn,
what happens here.
See, Tonga's always had a monarchy.
Yes,
but just because Tonga's always had a monarchy doesn't necessarily mean that people have always agreed with it.
That's right.
As you would have seen from like the riots that happened in 2006.
Yeah.
There are times when the people
get frustrated.
Yeah.
And I've seen that with the burning and looting as well in '87.
Yeah.
I talk about it in my book, and I did a song on my first album called "Burning and Looting" in Silvertown, Silver Street, and I could look down from Silver Streets, and I was 12 years old, and all I could see is that what's happening, And what happens is the Eat OK movement, the young and the old, the women and men, they will come through the village, march through with their Bibles and stuff, and tell all the people to clear the town, because the people who's coming at the back, the youth, will come and burn and loot your shops. So don't take anything, just take yourselves and your family and leave with us while we're marching through, because after that it'll be like, and that's what I saw, is like the aftermath of
devastation.
Yeah, and then I can watch from our place in Marasova Street, which is up in Turek, and you can look down into Silver City, and you can just watch them, just going from shop to shop, sort of emptying it out and burning it and whatever, they're doing, people in their trolleys collecting stuff from shops, and can't really believe it, but that's how it happens during the time. Yeah.
Well, when I saw videos of like how the riots first started, how it started in Tonga, started almost as a joke.
Yes.
Started almost as a joke that
so people will be entertaining. So
then
someone's group, eh?
Someone throws like a rock.
Yeah.
And they're cracking up.
Yeah.
And then it just spreads.
Yeah.
And then it just goes crazy, and then people jump in, grab stuff, and they're still laughing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then and cops can't do anything. The cops are just standing. There's too many people.
That's right. And that's what happens as well. And then after that, then they do the curfew. So curfew is like, okay, everyone's locked down now. Can't come into the city. If you're seen in the city overnight, you're taken to the cell or something like that. So 8 or 6 to 6, you'll have a lock. And that's what they're doing at the moment. It's not a lockdown for COVID. It's curfew.
It's curfew.
So curfew means, okay, it's 4 to 4, you can't be seen out there, but next morning you can go and work and stuff, like how we did lockdown.
From 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. you can't be seen anywhere.
Yeah. But otherwise, you can go about your business during the day, as long as you do your mask and your, sanitizer.
So that's a different type of lockdown to what we're used to here in New Zealand.
Yeah, and that's why they're having those 800 cases yesterday, bro.
Mate, I was checking updates this morning. I was like, whoa.
So that's why it's happening. I'm trying to explain as well on my, my sort of spill online, that you need a total lockdown, even if you do it with your own family. And
so they're still having 12 hours of the day where they come out of their houses and mix with people.
Yeah.
And if you've got that Delta strain in the community,
that's right, bro.
That shit is crazy.
Yeah. Restaurants are open. Everything's open, bro. And so that's a thing too, Russ. It's like shucks.
But the people had already started vaccinations, hadn't they, in Fiji?
Yes. So it's going through the community. It's going through fast, but it's only the first jabs, eh? So some people have to wait till September to get their second jab, or August, even November, some people. But during this time, if you're having these cases like this, 800, hundreds of cases, bro, just imagine the waiting time, and at least 3 deaths a day at the moment,
Wow.
Yeah, the other day was 6, actually, but yeah. So it's about 53 deaths so far, and 48 of that is from the last 4 weeks. 48 deaths is from the last 4 weeks alone. So and our morgues are full, bro.
I saw that last week. They put out a call for the families to come and please take their
because
past ones from the morgue, because the morgue was overflowing.
They normally leave their bodies there for a month, 6 weeks, some of the families, and now they need the morgue. But at the same time, you have to bury the bodies. It's contaminated, eh? Like how they have mass graves in Italy, and they were burning bodies in India. That's the stage we have to think about as well, because we can't keep the bodies around, so the contamination and stuff. But it's hard for Fiji to fathom that kind of effect. Even now, they're looking at it and people are dying and COVID cases are going. Some people don't want to take the COVID vaccine.
Why?
And some of the
belief that
the church leaders are actually
preaching out against it,
still telling
advising the people that
not to do it. Yeah,
don't get vaccinated.
Don't get vaccinated.
What's their reasoning behind that?
I don't know. It's probably like they're saying it's a new, and a lady, a doctor had to come out and explain to them that a grain of rice can't even fit through one of those syringes, and still.
That it's a chip, that they're putting a chip in. We're still talking about this.
Yeah, so they are still thinking like that, bro. And I mean, far out, man. Some of those people will follow their leaders to the grave,
Especially in the islands.
In the islands, bro. So
Daren, especially our own people.
That's right, man, bro.
They don't know any better.
And if you're a Mbete or Talatala, you're a priest or a pastor, bro.
You have so much power.
You got so much power, bro. Even more than the chief sometimes, you know. And it's like, yeah. So, it's hard to really. I just try to do my thing every day, and hopefully, you know, something happens. But and in terms of my family, I just tell them to keep safe and no visitors, and don't go out visiting. Have your own kava at home, you know. Have your own bowl. It's like but
it's hard. It's hard for countries that won't do the full lockdown.
No, especially if it's the islands. You know us. You know, we're already communal. Like even the barracks, bro. There's 2 barracks together. That's 2 families. So there's no fence, no boundaries. You can just come out, go to the other barrack, you know.
Yeah.
And there's 40, you know. So one get it there. That's the whole thing. And that's how it's happening. So they're locking down pockets, villages as well. And sometimes those villages starve as well, because you're locking them down for like a week or 2 weeks, you know. And the young people won't get the stuff that they need, you know. Yeah. But so that's really what's really happening.
So they're really in a rough place. It's not going to get better.
No.
It's going to get worse before it gets better.
And I think that's why they wanted the Fijians to wear the jersey with vaccinate on it.
I heard about
and
this.
And the Fijians said no, because I guess some of their families, you know, believe that what's happening as well. And it's so hard for them to
So some of the team members in the Fijian team, some of them are anti-vaccination as well.
It could be, you know, and that's what I'm getting as well, for the gist of what's happening at the moment. And I've seen social media and leaders as well from our parliament parties in Fiji, who's and then they've got this thing that's going around. It's like a law society of Fiji. You have the right to say no to, you know, because he's saying if you don't get the jab, you don't get it. No jab, no job. So they were like, no, I mean, it's our right not to get it and stuff like that. So there's so much conspiracy coming around about what's happening as well. And
that's really hard.
It's really hard, bro. Yeah. And scared for them, worried for them, you know, even frustrated as well sometimes, bro.
Yeah, especially when it's a Pacific island and so much more under-resourced.
Yeah.
You know.
And then still, you know, we have to jump hurdles again to try and, you know,
And there's not much that like other governments or other countries can do because they're a militant state.
That's right. They can just say, you know, nobody cares about your opinion and stuff. And I guess that's what happened with the World Health Organization. They were trying to tell Fiji to lock down, just like any country did. You know, like New Zealand, we went, you know, fast and early, hard and early. That's what we lacked in Fiji, and now we're paying the consequences as well. And unfortunately, I told them there'll be more deaths. It'll get worse before it gets better. And sad to say, but that's the reality.
So sad.
Yeah,
there's a population, I believe, of about 900,000.
Yeah,
is that right?
It's about 900,000.
That's about 9 times the population of Tonga.
Yeah, and then we're talking about just one island being locked down, the main island, and 500,000 alone is on that main island.
Okay.
In Fiji. So
So the other island is unaffected?
The other islands are they're pretty normal, but where we are is and then there's hundreds and thousands of people just living in a little like Suva, Nausori corridor, Nasinu. Just those 2 suburbs alone fills about 300,000 people.
Right.
And and no sort of private housing and boundaries and fences like I was talking about. So it's so easy to catch and so easy to spread. You know? And you're having deaths, you know, of people under 40s, early 30s. So if they're all dying those ages, then no one's safe really, you know.
But Fiji went through like a few months where it seemed like the virus was gone. Is that right? Or have they always had it?
It was always there in the depths.
But they had people in isolation. It was controlled, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was controlled.
It got to a point
and then
it
got leaked into the community. I mean, there's so many conspiracy how it got leaked, but it got leaked into the community, and that's where the communal virus come out, and that was straight from India as well. So the Delta strain, and I think they don't understand how serious that is too, and it's just
that strain is so serious.
Yeah, bro.
You would have seen the news. Sydney is like climbing daily,
and it spreads more than the last. It
spreads easier.
Yeah, like how we sort of comprehended the last one.
Yeah.
And I guess it mutates all the time. They say, this lady
changes all the time. Adjusts itself.
So, shucks.
Yeah. Man, it just makes you think how lucky we are in New Zealand, doesn't it?
It's right, brother. I know, I give thanks. Even my mom and them's here, I'm just happy for them too, because it'd be so hard in Fiji to try and, as well control the older ones too, they want to go do stuff, and even over here during our lockdown it was hard to contain our household, islanders. I want to get this, I'm gonna go get it. Okay, it's like, just imagine that times 5 back home. And
and so there's nothing like physical distancing or anything when they are out in public.
They do the 2 meter things, but the worst thing I heard was the other day someone got vaccinated and got COVID from being vaccinated as well, just being in the 2 meter zone or whatever. So no one is really, there's no control around what's happening at the moment. So anybody, even if you get vaccinated, it's
the scary thing is, because Fiji is a militant state, how long before the military get real serious about it?
That's right, man. And then his thing is like, don't get the jab, don't get the job thing, but you have to have all that prevention in between, while people are waiting for the jab, they probably die before the jab, so like the rate things are going with Fiji.
Tough times,
brother. Even my brother, my cousin at home is still working, but that's the thing, they'll bring it home, and just it's hard to say whatever. We just support them from here, bro, and I guess Fiji, the team was just playing, I think that's why they did really well.
Oh my God,
they really played really well.
That game, Daren.
Man, I was so happy for the brothers, It was so...
I was happy for them, but I was like, come on, man, what about that forward pass?
Yeah, that's right.
What about that
ref,
forward pass?
Oh, man.
I was so pissed off, man.
Yeah, there was a few calls, bro. I was like, bro.
It's not often that a Pacific Island nation will get that close to success, especially against like the All Blacks.
The All Blacks, man.
So when calls like that are missed and stuff, I'm just like, like
really
they're so close. The
off,
opportunities there. You don't need all those extra things to go against them.
Because even the linesman has never even called the forward.
But the commentators called it, and they even the video editor went back and like replayed
and us
it.
Watching it,
a forward pass. Like, we were like, what?
Yeah, man. I hope they do well this weekend, man. So far. And then that game, the pre-games too, Samoa Tonga. It was good.
Didn't actually see that game. I didn't actually see that game, but I heard it was a strong, it was a solid first half.
That was good.
And then Samoa took off in the second half.
That was good, bro.
Yeah, man. I like the look of that Fijian team.
Man, that's right. They look like they were serious, man. Taking for serious.
It's been a while since I've seen another team bully the All Blacks.
Man, that looked like that, bro. I saw them bleeding. The All Blacks were like, most of them were
cut up, and
these guys were just like walking around like beasts or something.
It's been a while since I've seen the team come up and really bully them.
That was really good. I mean, a really good, sort of.
Just no back.
Run for their money. Give the All Blacks the run for their money.
They just threw everything on the field.
Yeah, man.
The other thing as well is like normally, like in the past, like normally I reckon the All Blacks normally sustain a team, or if you're gonna sustain it with the All Blacks, you can probably normally hack it with them for like maybe 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And then their fitness notoriously takes off.
Yeah.
Right. But less and less is that. Is that happening? That was
great.
Like,
they went overtime too,
They went overtime,
almost 82 minutes. And Fiji almost scored in that last one. It's like, bro, man. Yeah, man. They played for what was happening at home too, so. And it was hard for them too, because they had to decide about what to put on the, just imagine, being the last minute thing. I know we don't want to wear the jersey, you make, new ones and stuff, and they have so much more, And they were sort of only met for that period of time as well. So I'm looking forward to what's happening this weekend too. Hopefully they keep that fire, keep that energy. Yeah.
Well, they came within 8 points of taking the lead.
Man,
8 points.
That's right, bro. And they put the first points on the board as well. I was like, because I was like, please, Fiji, just do one try, man. Just get some points on the board, please.
How many tries? It was 3 tries.
3 tries. Yeah. A couple of conversions missed, but yeah. Yes.
But let's be honest though, for 70 minutes, I felt like they exposed. They exposed the All Blacks.
All Blacks really looked vulnerable at some stage,
Making silly mistakes, silly errors.
And the turnovers too, and the lineouts, bro. The lineouts was good, man. Shucks, man. I was like, is this the game? What game am I watching? Is this the one? This is the one, man. No,
they might have been. Maybe they were overconfident after after Tonga, eh? Maybe they were a little bit overconfident after beating Tonga. That they thought it might be another...
Because the Tonga was just some club members as well, eh?
Mate, it was players. So sad.
Yeah, I heard the story behind it too.
Yeah.
Far out, man.
They're missing about 22 of their normal players. Players stuck in quarantine, players stuck overseas, managers clubs wouldn't receive European players.
What a headache to it, bro, man.
Yeah, and then you've got like... It's a frustrating thing because then you've got like a whole lot of Pacific Island players, you know, that are Tongan descent, Samoan, Fiji. They might have played for the All Blacks or Wallabies in the past.
That's right.
But now they want to play for their own country.
Man.
Can you imagine what sort of game that would be if they were allowed to come back and play for their country?
That'd be amazing, bro.
Amazing games.
It'll probably be like the Fiji team, you know, because they brought them from France and all those.
Yeah.
And our boys do really well when they goes to those clubs and play those rugby because they look after our boys as well, you know.
Yeah.
And if we have the facilities like that at home,
man. Well, they were definitely playing at that same level.
That level, that's true. Yeah, that's why I can't wait for the Moana team next year. And they'll sort of be awesome, make a difference.
So that Moana team is going to be a Pacific Island team, but based here in Auckland, is that right?
Yeah, based in Auckland, you know, Samoan, Tongan, Fiji, and and I think the draw as well, the Fiji draw team, which is the one we're watching now. Yeah, so they'll probably be part of the Super Rugby too next year. Yeah.
But from that Moana team though, like, isn't that just going to be like another pickings team for like the Auckland Blues or for the All Blacks? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
that could be too, yeah. I don't know what the strategy is behind it, but I'd rather...
Sonela Waki is a perfect example.
Yeah,
Sonela Waki was playing for Tonga. Is that...
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Jeez, I hope I've got this right. He's playing for Tonga, and then they created that mixed Pacific Islands team. Remember that?
Yeah,
and he was a standout.
Yeah.
He was a standout. Yeah. 2 years later, he's playing for the All Blacks.
That's right. He came out of there. And then our team just dissolved. Our Moana team, eh? Yeah. So hopefully this one just sustain again and come through, eh?
Yeah, well, it looks like I think it's got good people that are running it.
Yeah. I had, because we went to the game last week, Ronnie Clark was there as well.
And Michael Jones?
Michael Jones, yeah. So good talano, you know, sort of see where the boys at. And, said hello to, what's his name? Sivo Reese.
Oh, yes.
Sivo. And he was like this close to playing for Fiji. And he's like, you could see the thing.
Right?
Yeah. Because they were the only two Fijian boys in the All Blacks. Eh? Yeah. Him and Satutu and But it was good, those two boys. And this should see them afterwards, and the Fijian boys make it fun as well. And because he grew up in Nandi, he was born and raised there. Right. Yeah.
So if they play for, if someone of Pacific Island descent plays for the All Blacks, what is it? Is it a 3-year stand down? Or is it more complicated than that? It's more complicated than that, isn't it?
Yeah, sort of.
Because I hear that Charles Biudau has been trying for ages to try and qualify for any Tongan team.
And then
but he keeps getting held back by either his club, getting released from his club or from his contract.
And then by the time you want to play it, your career's towards the end again. Yeah. Even, what's his name? The bro from the league. He's gone to Japan, is it?
Who's that?
Is he... Follow, yeah. So he's going to play for Japan.
He's going to play for Japan?
Yeah, I saw some kind of thing on social media.
Rugby union?
Yeah, that he might be playing for Japan or something like that.
Far out.
Could be sevens for Olympics or something.
But see, like, wouldn't someone like Joe Rokotoko like be keen to play for Fiji? You know what I mean? He's already done like how many years off?
That's right. Yeah. He's still a young fella too. Eh? Yeah, far.
He was like a gazelle.
That's right.
He was beautiful. He was amazing.
And how he dives,
mate, he was amazing, eh? So graceful.
Allergy, yeah.
He was amazing to watch.
Yeah. Him, Rupeni,
Vunimaqo.
Yeah, man. It's like, it's no effort, eh? But it's just so fast, eh?
Yeah. Completely effortless.
Yeah. It's like
Fiji's definitely got some amazing talent.
Those flying Fijians, it's like, oh man, they really played their hearts out. It was good, way, bro.
Definitely. It should be an interesting game, the second game.
Yeah, see what happens. I was happy to see John Cohen, change his stance as well. Because he used to say, Tongans, Fiji, and the Islanders are coming together, hiding and stuff.
Yeah.
But man, All Blacks look really hurt after that, bro. They were like,
There would have been a lot of sore All Blacks after that.
Oh, bro, man. Ice bath, brother. Yeah.
Good stuff. Where is the second game?
Hamilton, bro.
Right.
Yeah, so a lot of Fijians done that too, and I think it's sold out, bro. Yeah. And Tonga Samoa again, before it's like it's sold out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I could go see it, but yeah, TV there.
Yeah, it's great. I love having these Pacific Island teams playing here in New Zealand. It's such a good thing,
And good, they give it a good go,
Yeah.
Although our facilities are limited at home, we just,
But one day, I really do hope those eligibility rules do change.
Yeah, that's right, and it changes up.
Look at how different the league is.
True. Man.
Yeah.
How Tonga,
Yeah, but that's the difference.
I went to that game, bro, over here.
Oh, did you? In Hamilton?
The Tongan, boy. Oh, man. You guys represent, bro. You guys take it to the next level, man.
But that's what last weekend could have been like. You know,
Yeah.
like if the eligibility rules were different, if Tongan Stars could really just opt to play for their own team.
That's right.
That's what it could have
So
been
it
like.
wasn't the best, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We wanted the,
I hear a lot of Samoan stars are thinking of playing for Toa Samoa.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Boy, that'll be amazing, brother. Yeah, far out, man. I mean, I think that could be a future of rugby. Hopefully, that'll be nice.
Well, it depends. It depends if, like, if
That's right,
those old white men that sit at the top,
That's right.
if they want to like decide to make it more interesting.
So I was hoping Blair Mackey made it to the director of
Yeah.
rugby, but he's good to have him up there. Yeah. No, cool, bro. Yeah.
There's notoriously for I know especially for the Tongan team, there's always been a lot of corruption within the rugby unions, and even still now within the rugby league as well.
And
Does
sevens too, bro. So most of the sevens players still struggle, brother.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, financially and
A lot of money goes missing.
Yeah, and then even when Ben Ryan was doing the last sevens for Rio, he was one of the star players. Was shame for him to come to his house, because he's still living in a tin shack and stuff like that,
One of the star players
for the sevens team, and and then that was still happening, before the Olympics and stuff. So yeah, I think our rugby players don't really get treated, the way they should, as well. But I don't play, but yeah, I hear this stuff as well. And there's a book anyway. So Ben Ryan has written a book about Fijian sevens, and
Is that
everything
right?
is in there. So if you have I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it's out there. But yeah, he's a Ratu now in Fiji, in one of the villages called Serua. His name is Ratu Peni Raini. And they hardly give anything to anybody who's a foreigner and not Itaukei.
Wow. So he's got his own title.
He's got his own title there. He's a Ratu now in that little village called Serua. And that's between Nandi and Suva. Yeah.
Does he live there?
No, but
Oh, right.
so he's got a gift just before,
Yeah.
what he's done for the country as
Oh,
well.
amazing.
Yeah. And he really pushed our boys to the limit, Even Jared Haynes didn't make the cut, He came over to try, and a lot of those stars didn't make it, And some of our Fijians, they even just come out of high school, some of them, and they just natural,
Yeah.
just suffer so fast. And but I want to see more of them come overseas and get the good chances they need and they deserve, There's a lot there's because Rupian is back home now, it's really nothing to show for what's happened.
Yeah, it's a lot of interesting stories. I really want to get Dan Leo on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Who runs the welfare for Pacific Island rugby players.
So he did that video, is it?
I saw the one he did on Rupeni.
Yeah, I saw Rupini's video. Yeah,
that
so
story.
was a good one.
But that's kind of what you need. You need
Yeah.
like to go back and find these players and really portray their stories.
Yeah.
And then take those clips and like post them online. And that's
right.
how the stories like
especially for our next generation of rugby players coming,
teaches them
looking up to them. And
the realities of of what a career like that looks like.
Yeah, and something to fall on or whatever, But most of these guys come from playing with, plastic bottles on the streets, just playing touch from there and then.
That was us.
Yeah, that was us, bro. Yeah, that's what I say in the book as well, bro. So that was us, bro. Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, man. It was good times. I was telling my boys, hey, man, bro, you guys don't know what,
Yeah.
Now you can
Even if
choose.
someone would give us like a rugby ball, that was such a big thing,
Bro.
because we knew how
Yeah.
important that rugby ball is for us and our
Yeah.
mates.
Yeah, you'll have a fight in the village for that, bro. Hey, how come you bring it in? No.
'Cause I remember like because I went to Tonga High School where you had to wear like a mat around your waist.
Oh, yeah.
I remember
Oh.
like if we didn't have a ball, someone would take off their mat, roll it up in a ball, and tie it up, and that was our ball.
Yeah.
That was our ball.
Yeah. Solid too, Yeah.
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 But I use anything
Anything,
to,
bro. Even a coconut, one of those. Like he said, just don't kick it or head it. That's right, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
humble beginnings.
Oh, man. Best days, bro, I wouldn't change it for the world, too,
Same.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you, if you can always like look back on where you come from and like remember those things, it kind of keeps you grounded
Yeah.
and like wherever you get to in the future.
That's right, brother. And that's why I wanted to capture this. So I wrote that book as an adult, but I looked at myself from the ages of 12 to 17 before I come to New Zealand. And I tried to recapture that in this book and look at the individuals, how I saw them through my, young eyes. And so that's the thing what I wanted to do with that book. And and just honor those memories, like you had your 17 years, everyone. And everyone will see Vunimaqo, you'll have your own mango tree back in Tonga.
I used to have a mango tree that grew next to our house.
Yeah.
And so every Friday night, me and my mate would climb onto the roof of our house, get some mangoes, and just sit on the roof and just eat mangoes.
Yes, bro. Beautiful, eh?
Yeah.
It's my favorite fruit. I used to know what I used to do. I'll climb and then I'll bite them just to see they were ripe.
Yeah.
And then my grandmother would say, see all your teeth marks on mango.
Like a bat.
Like a cat's been there biting all these mangoes. I used to get pissed off.
We just had to watch out though, because there's always power lines that crisscross that.
That's right. Next minute there's a shocked bat.
Yeah, man, I got such rich memories of like growing up in the islands.
Oh, bro, man.
Also, it's very different as well because, man, back in those days, like we didn't have any devices,
Yeah, that's right.
and so the world of the internet
yeah.
didn't exist.
No, man.
It was literally,
Yeah, even telephone was not there.
like if you did call someone,
Yeah.
and you agree to meet somewhere at a time,
Yeah.
and then you go to that place and they don't turn up.
That was
it's
it,
just
eh?
like, oh well.
I was just around the corner. I didn't know. Like now you can just text, okay, I'm coming, I'm almost there. It's like, bro, I was just there.
Yeah.
Hey, I just left.
Communication was on a different level.
And that's what I like too. My granddad used to write to me, like I was saying earlier. So he used to write letters, and even type them sometimes, type letters, I guess that's a foreign thing now to ask,
Typing on a typewriter.
or writing letters, eh? Like kids nowadays, they'll probably think, what's, like I guess back in the days, people used to have pen pals and all that kind of thing. I guess it's all happening now online, eh?
I suppose so, yeah. But also, people can FaceTime internationally.
Yeah, that's it. And it's free as well if
It's
you've got
free.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
It's crazy.
Oh, bro, so yeah. Yeah, that's why my grandmother was like freaking out, It's just
Yeah.
like, even with rap music, she was like, "Oh, son, so if you can talk fast, you can be rich, eh? You can make an album and people will love you. You can talk fast. Talk fast." I was like, "What do you mean talk fast? Oh, you know what they're doing there? And that's a rap music. Oh yeah, that rap music. If you can talk fast." It's like, yes, yeah.
So how did you get into writing? Like, did that happen for you at school, at high school? Or?
Not in Fiji, bro, until I come to New Zealand. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Then I moved up to Auckland and I met more Strix and Poa.
Yes.
And Philip is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Philip was like about 14 at that time. And I was marketed around K Road, probably about late 22, early 23. It's about 98. So we started the tour 98. And we started writing poetry and art is like therapy. So like my first 3 poems were where I'm from, where I'm at, and where I'm going.
How did you come into doing that? Like your first poems?
More. So we were like, I just moved up from Wellington, pretty aimless, and just hanging around K Road. I had a place up at the boarding house there,
right.
and just hanging with the street kids, and then see more come, and then all of a sudden, no street kids around, just myself. They had already known that Moa, because Moa was like a chaplain, and he used to look after. He's a youth worker, yeah. And then he knew. I think that time I had the dreadlocks and all. Then he knew, oh, hey, you from the islands, eh? I said, I'm from Fiji. He said, and he used to run the TOPS course for training opportunities
Right.
For wins.
Oh, okay.
And so they come up and see me and on Monday, and then we'll sort something out. And then so I signed up for a year on his program in 98, total 98. So there was about 18 of us from around, all around the Pacific and Maori and Palangi as well. And then we did art and poetry. We collabed, wrote songs and wrote poetry and, rap and chant, whatever it was. And then we went to street corners and did busking on K Road and Ponsonby and stuff like that, even to schools.
And you would perform your poetry?
Perform our poetry. And Mo would stand on the other side of the road and he would say, "Hey, volume, I can't hear you."
Do you have mics? No mics.
No mics, just like all the strangers walking by, real islands. Hey, I can't hear you from here. Louder. This is full, like a Friday night,
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like all of us trying to do stuff. And so that whole year we just spent writing and doing an art exhibition on our Lava Lavas called Lava Lava Art down at Arthur Square. This is all fresh because I just moved up from Wellington. Yeah, and then after that year, I think there was this Palangi guy who was a musician, a jazz guitarist, sort of jazz fusion. And I think he played something in the neighborhood, those riffs, those guitar riffs. Yeah. So he did all the music for my first album in 2000, Bola Aotearoa, Immigrant Story.
Wow.
And I did all the poetry and I just rearranged it into, melody and rap and songs, And then, so sort of CNZ funding for my second album, Keep It Real.
So you kind of came into it by accident almost.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, mom was...
But everything happens for a reason.
That's right, yeah. So, growing up, mom was a musician, and then, I came overseas, and I never knew I would, start writing and stuff like that. But, I always say poetry found me in Aotearoa, and, although it was there, but it found me here in Aotearoa, and it came, like, more, sort of told me, and then, and from there, more said, okay, you have to, what I've done for you, so you give back. And then that's when we went back. I went back and formed the South Auckland Poets Collective, 2008. So now it's about over 10 years later now. It's about 14 years now since South Auckland Poets, and about over 40 poets has come through there.
Wow.
Yeah, and all doing really well, different fields, and from marine biologists and from professor as well. And it's amazing to see their journeys in different areas. Now I'm working at the Street Poets Collective at the City Mission. So getting those rough sleepers to write their poems. I work at the Auckland Central Library, and pretty homeless friendly area there as well. So just doing stuff like that for the community and giving back to.
When you first started writing, did you find like a feeling of comfort, or I feel like a therapeutic feeling? When you would express yourself through poetry. Yeah,
definitely, bro. I mean, I guess I was going through all these things, and I started to know the power of the journal. So you keep your own journal, and
right.
Most of the poems I was writing, I didn't publish. It was more of a personal thing. Like So
it's expressing yourself.
Yeah, and therapeutic too, like you said. And those 3 poems, like I said from the start, was a past, present, future. Where I'm from, where I'm at, and where I'm going. So those 3 was like you can put a collection here, or this is where I'm from. Collection, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I can see things might happen, And I think that really structured it for me at the beginning. And then from there I just pulled. And then what you do is, once it's on the page, it's frozen, It's up to the person to read.
How they interpret it.
Yeah, interpret
it,
yeah. And then once it's off, then you can do your, you can make it a chant, you can make it a rap, you can make it a melody, Use your voice to make it come alive. And then you got the acting and everything with it as well. So, just using different elements. And that's what I find with poetry. You can fit it anywhere. It's sort of a no rules kind of thing as well. You can rearrange it into songs and music like I did, and stuff like that.
Do you prefer to write it, or do you prefer the when you express it, when you read it out? Which side appeals more to you?
I've come to appreciate more of the writing now.
Right.
Yeah. Before, but I guess as most of us, we are natural orators, from our background, especially from where we come from. We've got spoken word before we had written word. Otherwise, our written word would have been the kesa on the natu, That would have been our symbols, our story, storyboards and stuff before the white man brought the pen and paper. But I think that was the transition, and my thing now is going back as well, because there's actually an art too, as well as in reading, in reading somebody's work or reading poetry. It's like, oh shucks, did you write that? It's like almost your poem, When you read somebody else's, and that's a gift as well, to do that. And And I enjoy people who can recite poems and it feels like, wow, you feel like that's the poet reading it themselves.
Yeah.
So
because you can see their heart.
Yes.
You know, like when I do think like when poets read their own work,
yeah.
it's so much more interesting to me than someone else reading their work. When the poet reads his or her own work, it's so much more beautiful because they almost read it the way they wrote it, the way they were thinking about it.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's authentic and it's really.
And they relive it. They relive whatever they were feeling at the time when they wrote it. It comes through them. I don't know whether it comes through consciously or unconsciously, but when they perform it out loud.
It just flows, yeah.
Yeah, but then I'm sure there's a lot of poets as well that prefer not to perform their poetry and just let it be open for interpretation.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Which is great too. I mean, I guess nowadays spoken word is the main thing as well.
Right.
Yeah. And I guess that's why I'm stepping back into the reading part of it too. There's a thing in reading, like you said, where that's why I don't want to get too familiar with that book as well. I mean, I've written it. Yeah. It took me about 7 years to finish that book. My first two was like within the 2 years I finished those two. But this one I took my time as well, and wanted it to be different, Yeah.
How long would it take you to come up with each poem, roughly?
Really depends, Sometimes I could sit there for hours, and sometimes I could just sit there for 5 minutes, and I'm not, in the zone. But it's about like compilations,
So of what goes where?
Yeah, so I've got like a few manuscripts sitting on my computer, and it's been sitting there for years as well. And then it's different collections. So this one is the Vunimaqo collection, and then you have another one, the Poet and the Politician collection. I've got one about my son as well. There's a collection about him. There's one about James Baldwin had sort of inspired me. James Baldwin.
No, sorry, who's James Baldwin?
I'm Not Your Negro. He was that political writer back in the day of Martin Luther King and stuff like that. So I've taken that I'm Not Your Negro and I've sort of translated into I'm Not Your Coconut. So I'm writing a collection called I'm Not Your Coconut at the moment. And then that's all the sort of, connotations and stereotypes of a coconut in Aotearoa in New Zealand. Because that book was written back in the 60s, maybe earlier.
Right.
50s, yeah. So, and it was very much, the nigger word was really heavy that time,
Right.
And so, that book really, that film as well, I'm Not Your Negro, if you get the chance to have a look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I took it from there. And so there, as a poet, there's a few manuscripts that I'm working on. And it's always good to get something out as well. And
7 years worth of work in this?
Yeah, so I started my master's in creative writing with Selena Tustalama. She was my supervisor. So we wrote the draft of the book there. It was only about 20 poems, maybe less. And then, over the years, I've just sort of every year just put more poems in as well. Yeah, and then just wanted to sharpen it up. And then COVID gave me the chance to finish it up nicely. And and then the boys sent it over to China.
Yeah, so when did it get released?
April this year that was released in Auckland, and then we went down to Wellington later that month as well. So it's at Unity bookstores and around the country, and it's going to be available online too. So
are you proud of it?
Yeah, bro. I mean, I guess this is so far out of the 3 books, this is my sort of closest that I've been really content with my work. Close to the full, perfection stage. The other 2, I enjoyed it as well, but
different process.
And this is close to my heart too.
Yeah,
it's dedicated to my grandparents, and the hardest part was my family.
Writing about your family.
To read this book and to accept it.
Because it's so close.
Yeah, and the way they would react to it.
Do you write a lot about your family in here?
Yeah, there's a few, and there's my 7 sisters is in there as well, but so all the things it'll be different for how different people take it. But it's pretty much a celebration of growing up at home, and most of them has been good so far, I'm pretty happy with it. The artist is from Fiji too, from Nandi, so I wanted to support his work.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to sitting down and going through them. Yeah, I'll take my time.
Yeah, take your time, brother. Yeah. But because you grew up in Tonga, so you'll understand. It'll take you, like some people will take a lot longer time to digest it.
Right.
But for you, familiar, you have your own Vunimaqo, and you can picture your sort of connection.
Yeah.
And you might hear sometimes in there that the Vunimaqo itself is talking about the ulu tree next door, you know, the breadfruit tree or the banyan tree.
Do you know, I recommend something for you.
Okay.
In the evening when you're just sitting, you're just relaxing, I recommend you go like onto YouTube, right, and just start going through like, because people film stuff in like Fiji or in the Pacific Islands.
Yeah.
And honestly, just seeing images and hearing sounds will hit you and take you back nostalgically, and might even inspire you as well. But I've found that like seeing stuff of Tonga, and hearing the music, the singing, and just the shots of like the water, it's hard to describe.
Yeah. So once you
but
see,
you know what I mean, eh? You know what I mean. Once you see the visuals, and once you see like someone sitting on the back of a ute, just filming, just driving through a village, you're there. You remember it. You remember the smell, the heat, everything. You know. Yeah.
The senses work, bro. You know?
Your senses just come alive. Yeah.
Oh, I miss home, man.
Yeah.
It's been supposed to go back this year, you know, end of the year.
Oh yeah.
It's like sharks. Yeah. But that's okay. Yeah.
Can people still go into Fiji or no?
No, man. I mean, it'd be crazy to go at this time as well. Eh?
Of course,
but I guess they're asking for nurses and stuff like that at the moment. That's the only sort of people are going into Fiji.
Right.
Yeah.
Tonga has like a 3-week quarantine.
Oh,
you can go. Yeah. I think you can go under special admission.
Yeah.
But still, it's like a 3-week quarantine.
Wow. I think Fiji's the same too now. But yeah, who would want to go in the midst of everything, eh? I mean,
yeah. It's a pretty rough time to go over there.
Yeah. So
this is really cool, man. This is really cool, like this piece of work. So now that you've released this, have you started unconsciously working on your next? Started to entertain the idea of working on your next project?
That's right, bro. Yeah, I'm on this project, which is with the Street Poets. So we're putting an anthology out next March, and that's where I work with them. Every Thursday morning, I go out to the mission,
right,
and I run 2-hour poetry exercise workshops with them. There's about 8 poets there, and one of the poets has been writing since the 80s. So he's got over 700 poems, bro. And he suffers insomnia, so he writes poetry like religiously. He would write 5 poems a day actually, and every time he comes to the workshop, he's got almost 50 poems or kind of some kind of thing like that, you know. And we've got 5 typists, volunteers from the council who's typing out his work, because he only writes, and his ribbon for his typewriter is broken, so he's got no telephone, he's got no computer, no technology whatsoever. He just writes them in papers, loose papers or black books. Nice thick black books, and it just brings them to class. And so I really want to publish him as well every year. He can publish a book every year for the next 5 years if he wanted to, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, just amazing. He reckons he's been suffering from insomnia for 10 months, brother. And you know, and I say, what you do? And he said, like, I just write, and sometimes I just stare at the ceiling and stuff like that. I mean, he rough slept in England as well for 20 years. Yeah, so the 80s till the 2000s, then he come back to New Zealand, and only the last 3 years he's got his state house, and then he's just been writing religiously since then, and just going hard. And
and all the stuff he would have seen on the streets, man.
Yeah, bro. And then when he does read, you can't get, just because he just mumbles, and it sounds so terrible. I mean,
right.
You know? But when you read his work, like on the page, it's like
comes alive,
brother. Even like the words he used and stuff is so immaculate, bro. You know, it's different, eh? Sometimes you don't look for the words. Yeah, look for the words, the meanings, and So 2 of our poets are pretty much ready to drop their own books as well.
Right.
So I'm using this as a platform for them. Rough Lives Matter is called the name of the anthology.
I like it.
Yeah. So they're gonna March next year. We're looking at putting these guys out, and at the same time, I'm doing my own thing with my own sort of personal manuscripts as well.
Yeah.
Doing Going West next month as well for sort of poetry reading night with Carlo Mila.
Oh, okay. And, Going West, is that?
Yeah, the festival up at out west there.
Okay.
Literary festival, eh? Yeah. And then, mainly just working around Central Library, because I'm based there as the Pacific Heritage advisor. So I work with a lot of our heritage stuff, our collections from that came to Sir George Grey, who was the governor back in those days. So letters from Tonga, from the from Queen Charlotte's scores of her songs that she wrote.
Yes,
so we collect all that. So I look after the Pacific heritage. That's my job up at the library. So and then I just trying to connect with our Pacific communities here and
that's some fascinating stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of history.
Yes, some good history, bro. I mean, at the moment we're closed for renovations and stuff, but a lot of people has come through there, to research. I've seen a lot of letters from the Maliatoa, from Samoa to Sir George Grey, from the Ratu in Fiji, from the Kombao, that we're talking about his language, Bao. So we got that, even pamphlets of 7 missionaries from Tonga, 7 missionaries from Fiji, translating the Bible into different verses of the language, and going through different parts of Fiji and Tonga and spreading the gospel in their own languages. So even Noah and the Ark, and I found one of the ancestors here, stays in Fijian guy. He come and read his ancestors' work from the 1800s.
Wow.
Drew the Ark and the story in Fijian of Noah and the Ark at the bottom. So I got his ancestor from here, Buli Tangidi, to come and have a read. It's just there, tears and just connecting back. And he's a religious man as well, today. So this is like almost 200 years later, and this fella's reading stuff.
Almost 200 years later.
Yeah. So,
and one of your descendants read what you wrote.
And it's written, handwritten.
It's handwritten.
So it's preserved in our
So it feels
collection.
like you're that close as well to.
So he's reading from the original.
One of your ancestors.
So what we do,
it's a beautiful thing.
We digitize them and we put them online, so people want to look at them as well. They can go online and have a look. Even Captain Cook's collection of the tapa from Tonga, Tahiti, and Hawaii. There's 40 pieces.
Right.
In our Captain Cook logbook, 1787.
Right.
That was published. So it's got cuttings of different natus and different, sort of masi and all from the different islands. Yeah. His voyages, And there's only 66 books in the world. I think there's 3 in New Zealand. So we've got one of them at the library and one at the museum. I think one down South Island. But stuff like that I'm looking after. And I've been there for almost 4 years now. Bro, I've learned so much about the history of Fiji. Then I stayed in Fiji, growing up in Fiji.
Of course.
Yeah. And I was like, man,
Because like when you're growing up there, you just see what you see.
Yeah, and they don't teach you that at school. I mean, they teach you English history and English literature and stuff like that as well.
They teach you English history
and English history
in Fijian school, in primary school and
Fiji curriculum,
secondary school.
I mean, they would teach you religion and language as well, like you have Fijians.
But you learn about the old English kings and queens,
and then you learn about that, and literature like that as well,
That's hilarious.
Yeah, bro. So like,
people you never even.
That's it, bro.
Don't even know.
And that's why I'm happy. I'm happy the PM is gonna, change it. So our history is gonna go back in schools, especially here in New Zealand. So,
I never knew that. But that's pretty crazy.
It is, bro. Well, what I was looking at, even with regulations, this is 1800s, late 1800s.
So you're learning about like Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's right.
You're like, who?
Yeah. They came through. They had a regulation book, So even our people couldn't. The males not allowed to drink kava till they're 20. The females can't drink kava till they're 25. This was in our.
So this is regulation made by who?
This was the Palans when they first come to Fiji. Yeah, and we actually got the logbook, in our thing. Yeah. It's like 1887. This was written by this, So if you, it was like a rule book anyway. Even if you like sort of, killed somebody, that'll be there. But at the same time, how many canoes can you own? You can own only 2 canoes. You can only drink kava in this certain time. You can, naked. You can't be naked. That kind of thing.
This is a white man's rule.
Yeah. So they come
the Pacific Island.
The colonizers come through.
I see.
Yeah, and that's the same time as the Indians coming through as well to Fiji, 1875 to 1880. Arthur Gordon talking to Sir George Grey. And then he brings them. So he was, his same Indian, same guy who took the Indians to Caribbeans, the Mauritius and all those islands as well. So that's how the same indentured laborers. So they'll tell the Indians, hey, no, don't worry, Fiji part of India. You just go this week and you'll come back on the end of the year. So 200 years later, they're still relaxing, Yeah, so that was the white man's, sort of colonization stuff.
I see.
Back in those days,
They brought the Indians there to work.
Yeah, so even some of them, they married and all. Oh, don't worry, you'll see your wife at the end of the year. Come to Fiji. Wife and kids are all that side, That's how they took the Indians and
That's so sad.
took them the other way as well. So it wasn't really the Indians' fault, actually. It's actually the Kavalangi's fault. Yeah. And then I guess that's this space I'm working in is like really sort of solidifying a lot of our history and how we've come the whole 360 now. Like us who can talk about it now. Yeah. Back in those days, even 10, 20 years ago, we couldn't be like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's still quite a bit of friction between the Fijians and the Fijian Indians, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, it was always going to be the case, and that was the intention at the beginning, anyway.
Right. Divide.
To cause that division, and they knew it. The English knew that was going to happen. Yeah. So it's pretty intentional when you come to think of it. Yeah.
Man, I'm just thinking that would suck, man, if someone told me, like, go work in another country for a year and I come back at Christmas and see my wife and kids.
That's right.
And I never, ever saw them
200
again.
years later, bro, they're still looking for their ancestors, how they link back to India and how they can connect back to where they had originally come from. Girmit, the Girmit. Yeah. But the English has done a lot as well with the Indian population, even with them in England,
I was watching a documentary last night on, I think it was Mauritius, on the island.
Yeah. Yes, that's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's very interesting because the culture there is quite, it's quite intertwined now, and there's quite a strong Indian
influence,
population there, but also Chinese and also Creole as well.
That's right, Creole. Haiti, Haiti is got Creole, and that's what I was thinking, bro. Fiji, don't be careful; they end up like Haiti, that poverty will really take over, stuff like that. But yeah, Mauritius, all those islands as well, and that's how the word ganja got across to. It's actually an Indian word, ganja. So that's how it went across to Jamaica and all those islands as well. So yeah, that's why you got a lot of Indian influence in the language and in the accents of most of the Jamaicans and the sort of Caribbeans. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy what's happened to people of color over the last few hundred years. And if you really think about it, that's not actually too long ago. You know what I mean? Like if you think about the spectrum of like how long humans have been on Earth, the last couple of hundred years is not actually that far ago. And
even us two talking about it, like the 80s, we didn't have what we got now.
That's right.
We didn't have cell phone. We couldn't said, hey, we're gonna meet you there. Let's just meet you there.
That's right.
Otherwise, it's done.
Right.
But now we can, really just So that was only 40 years ago now.
Yeah.
And just imagine how kids, they must look at us like like dinosaurs or something. These guys are centuries here.
Well, see, I watched the game on my phone with my son, but I don't know how to how to stream it.
Oh, right.
Gave it to him. He's like,
see, that's it.
There you go, Dad. How did you do that? How did you do that?
Feel ashamed.
Like, I just went into this and I was like, now we never have to pay for a Sky.
You're genius, son. Stay close.
It's the next generation is it's going to become like second nature to them.
Man, definitely, bro.
Yeah. They're so adaptable to it. So
because I'm still the pen and paper fella as well,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I write sets for training, right?
Oh, okay.
But I can never write it on my phone or like write it into a laptop. It has to be pen and paper, and then I'll take it from there and put it into my phone. Yeah. But I have to have pen and paper to write it. It must be we're old, man.
old school.
I can only create something onto if I'm using my hand, a pen and paper.
Yeah, same, brother.
So what about when you write poetry? But you can obviously type it out now.
I can type it. It's easier to edit on computer as well.
Yeah.
But I still keep a journal.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Even just encourage people to keep it by the bedside too. Because I guess we went to writing school, and everything happens in dreams too, and you forget your dreams like that as well. So if you have something next to you on the bed, just even if it's a line or 2 lines. Because by the afternoon or by midday, shit, what happened again?
Yeah. Even when you wake up.
Yeah, and then you had that phrase, and then something's missing. One of the words missing from the phrase, it doesn't sound the same. Yeah. This is when you were inspired and like, oh, shit. Yeah.
Has there only ever been poetry that you've wanted to write, or have you wanted to ever look at like screenplays or write short films?
I wanted to make like a documentary film when I was, thinking of this one.
Yeah.
And I was like, shucks, I can have actually, take them back to the barracks. My mom owned the barracks now. My grandparents is gone. So it's still there, but my auntie looks after it. And then still got half the barracks there, because behind the barracks, the American embassy has bought the whole plantation. This used to be our plantation. And that's one of the reasons why my grandfather really went down. Most of the old fellas lost their plantations. They built their building stuff at the back there, locked us out, and sort of bought the 2 barracks near us, and just did a big bulldoze driveway down there, and then separated the whole barracks to the other side and this side. So that's just happened over the last 15, 20 years. And so it's not the same as when I was growing up there, but still got that place where you can, sort of shoot something. I always wanted to maybe make a film, because a lot of people make theaters out of the book,
Yes.
which is all right too, but I was like, I could see like maybe a film happening with this one. But nothing has not really discussed anything. I talked to Lemmy Bonifacio about trying to do like an operatic kind of thing as well. If I did theater, I would probably do something like that.
Right.
Yeah, something different, outside of the box. But for now, I just writing with it, doing workshops at schools. Remuera School will be next. They request it. So I've been doing since 2004. I've been doing workshops.
Okay.
Mainly with at risk, but now I've chosen my schools now that I do it with, and then I'm doing the Street Poets Collective as well. So that's a good place where I'm at now, and because I still do 40 hours from my job at the Central.
So you're doing all this other stuff outside of
on the side, brother.
That's what we do,
Yeah, but
any little side hustle.
Yeah, but that really feeds me to what I'm learning from the library, and being the Pacific role, and and giving back.
So make you feel like you got like a responsibility as well.
Oh, big time, especially when you get an email. Oh, can you help me? If I have to, you have to really especially if it's history and somebody's very particular about their history, or a certain name or a certain photograph. Because even looking at photographs, I look at Marasu Street where I went to school in Fiji 100 years ago, and there's no baka tree, no banyan trees behind there. And I was like, when I was growing up, there's banyan trees was there for 50 years. I think it's about 140, 150 years old now, the school in Fiji. My grandfather went there, my uncles went there. But just to look at the picture.
When's the last time you were there?
In 2019, I was there when my grandmother passed away. So I try and go back every year, but now my grandmother's gone and my grandparents. It's like there's no real urge to go back. But I need to go back to the sort of
take your children.
The grave. I mean, I took my boys. A few times, and while they were alive. But it's different now, and the house is really empty after my grandparents is gone now. So there's only 2 of them staying there. At one time, it was a 1-bedroom barrack. Would have been 14 or 15 of us.
Wow.
Staying in there, growing up during one time.
Memories,
Memories, brother, And then, like I said, we won't change it for the world,
Yeah.
That was best times, brother, Although we, poor and everything, materially. But we were just happy, man.
Yeah. Because you make do. Make do,
That's right, man.
The pleasures are simple
and
pleasures.
Share as well. You learn how to, I've got this piece as to half.
You learn how to share, man.
Over here, you get your own thing, man.
Do you know, Daren, that was one of the biggest things that I couldn't get used to when I first came over here. I came here to do 7th form in Palmerston North. And going to school, I couldn't understand like lunchtime. Like how you sit next to people. But they don't.
Nothing,
There's no sharing.
Not even allowed to look at what you're looking at. So come on, give me that. Because I remember in Fiji, we get a half loaf, we cut the bread and then put the butter and the banana, and then I take it to school and just put it in the plastic. And then the Indian fellow will have his parcel of roti. The Chinese
you all put it together.
Put it together, or even exchange. Hey, bro, you want this today? Okay, And they love the banana sandwich because they don't have it at home, But we used to put it together anyway, and have a big, even if you bring a tin meat and open it, And nowadays everyone's just for themselves doing. It's like
it's a different culture, it's a different community, and but it's the importance of sharing things is is such an important human quality, because it creates community,
and I think that's what makes us different as well when we come to to Aotearoa, and we can see the ones that were really born and raised in the islands too.
You really can.
Yeah.
Never hesitate to share anything.
That's right, bro. Yeah. Oh, you like the shirt? Okay, yeah. You know how the islands.
That's happened.
Nice shit,
that's happened to me, man. I've been at. I remember being at some drink up in Oahu. Some guy came and he was wearing the. Funny, we were talking about this. The Pacific Islands rugby shirt.
Oh, yeah,
you know the blue, white, and red one. Yeah. Remember the shirt? I was like, wow. Yeah. Where'd you get that from? And he was like, I know one of my cousins. I was like, that's amazing. And he just looked at me. He was like, you like the shirt?
Like minute.
And I was like, it's a great shirt. Yeah. Just took it off. He was like, it's yours. And I was like, no. Put it on because this is winter. Yeah. And he was like, no, it's your shirt. Yeah. And
yeah. Man, yeah, no, it is, man. Yeah. So when you're back home, just wear the old shirt. When you go to drink, just
isn't that rule number one?
Single.
That's rule number one. Yeah. Your good shirts, keep them at home.
I said, bro, what's that shit you was wearing before?
I've been to, I remember going somewhere once in Tonga and someone going, I like your belt.
Yeah. It's like, bro. Yeah, that's it.
Nah, you take it.
No, take it, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, awesome, bro. Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely different culture that we've come to over here.
Man, far out. So different but I try and with my kids just try and say, just try and tell them stories and stuff as well. It's
to keep it alive.
Yeah, they're so different nowadays, bro. Yeah. Cheers, man.
Cheers, brother. But then at the end of the day, I think you can never discount how much your children actually absorb from you, from what they see.
Yeah, that's true, bro. Yeah.
They read a lot of you unconsciously, and you don't know it often, but you're actually teaching them a lot just by being around them. They're always learning little things because they're like sponges. They absorb things of you,
They do, And then now they're multicultural, like Tongan Samoan now, even with me, Tongan Samoan Fijian, it's like, and then so we have to share that with them too. Okay, say the prayer in Samoan, sing the hymn in Fijian or do a Tongan thing, But especially for them, born and raised there, it's because we communicate English is best for them, But and I think just through prayers and like reciting prayers and hymns, songs and stuff, that's the best way to.
That's what I do as well.
Yeah, connect with them. Yeah.
Because with hymns is the melody and the tune, and then the words. Teach them the words, and the words flow. Start to flow after one, and they start to get it.
Get there, on the tongue as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So I'm gonna try and teach him more too, because I just got him in a play with Justin. See my button. She wanted him to sing a Fijian song. Yes. She was looking for a 10 to 13-year-old. I was like, hey, my son there. And I asked him, hey, you want to sing? You're gonna sing in Fijian for this hymn? And I was excited. And he's like, oh no, Dad, he's like a mandoai shy fella. Yeah. Dad, when I said, hey, you got $200 there. Oh, Dad, can you teach me the song? Yeah, okay, $100 for me. Can you teach me the song same time, bro? I left it for the last day.
You found the right motivation.
I said, okay. So at least he's gonna do that, Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Because every now and then when we say our prayers, we just sing the Fijian hymns and all. I said, you don't know how to sing the Fijian hymns, you'll sing it. And then, yeah. And so only $200. Yeah, okay.
All in.
Can you teach me that? All in, man. These guys nowadays. They grew up fast, these guys.
Yeah.
Man. But just imagine, $200, 11 years old, getting paid $200 for, to do 4 shows. Something you love.
See, when I grew up and I was about, how old was I? Be about 10. I was about 10. And because every year our primary school would learn the laka laka, a dance. They learn a different dance every year to perform at like maybe the king's birthday.
Yeah.
And so I always knew how to dance.
Yeah.
And so like whenever we had visitors over, my dad would always say, Mike, you good to dance? I'd always be, yep. Even if I didn't want to, you know what I mean?
That's right.
Get up, perform, go. Yeah. But I always knew that he loved it as well. It was something that he was so proud of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then you just want to make them proud and happy as well. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the same thing with my boy too. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we knew otherwise we would be humiliated as well. I told you dance now. Okay, I should have just danced already. I should have just show off already, so I don't have to get humiliated.
Did you do much cultural stuff as you were growing up in Fiji? Did they put much emphasis on that at school?
Mainly language and meke dance. So if you were Kailoma, the meke dancers were full Fijians. They will do the dance, and we will do the singing and the singing drinking on the side. Yeah, but yeah, it was pretty much pretty staunch outfit. And Mara's brothers, the Palangi brothers, they used to teach us how to speak proper Fijian as well.
Is that right?
Yeah, so some of them were like just fluent with the Fijian language. Been there for years, and yeah, it's just amazing the way they used to do stuff. Yeah, Palangi brothers and just speaking fluent.
Yeah,
say, I'm from this village. Oh yeah, they speak to you in their dialect.
Is that
I'm
right?
from that village. I speak to you in their dialect. It's like, well, oh yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So,
how did they do that? They just had a real knack for languages.
And then I think they stayed in different places, or they had teachers from different places as well. So yes, and that's how they wrote the dictionary as well. Most of our dictionary writers were Palangis at first. Yeah. Yes, like when I went to Cook Islands and I did a Fijian poem. Then I came off, and then I met this professor from England, Sean Hooper, and he was like, boom, straight away Fijian. He was rattling off in Fijian
right?
to me. It's like, oh, bro,
wow.
Full on Palangi guy, in Cook Islands, just there.
I've come across a lot of American Palangis that were missionaries that would go and stay in Tonga and stuff, and they would pick up the language.
Fast there. Because Utah's got
like a strong Mormon
movement.
Yeah, and so a lot of them would come to the Pacific.
Yeah,
and they come and stay with families, and they would pick up the language. And they would go back to America. And stay there for years and come back to Tonga later on, like 15, 20 years later, and still speak.
Amazing. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Yeah, some of them are just linguists.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a certain skill to do that. Yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah. Something that just crossed my mind. I was talking about this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, I think, about I'd read this story about blackbirding.
Oh, yeah.
And how that affected like some of our Pacific Island people, where they were being taken by ships and sold as voluntary workers into South America, I believe.
Yeah.
But from what I read, though, like the stuff that I did read, what mainly impacted there was quite a few Tongans from outer islands in the Tongan region. But do you know, because you do a lot of Pacific Island history and heritage, did much of blackbirding impact Fiji?
Yeah, I would have too. I mean, there's a big Solomon settlement too in Fiji.
Because of that?
Yeah, because of that as well. So even Vanuatu people from Tana has come there as well to stay.
Is this because of the sugarcane?
The sugarcane trade and so they drop off at different spots, and especially for Fiji. Yeah, so there's got a big connection with the Solomons and the people from Tana, from Vanuatu as well. Yeah, and then going further on too, ending up in South America and stuff like that. Yeah. It's a lot of, because it's the gateway to Fiji is the gateway as well to the Pacific, even with the cyclone and stuff. It's the gateway for the cyclone. Comes through Fiji first and then hits the others. And but
I suppose for people that were from Vanuatu and Solomons that did end up in Fiji, because it only lasted a few years, didn't it? 2 or 3 years.
So in between,
so it'd be easier for them to find their way back home than it would be for the poor people that ended up in South America.
Because even about Niueans as well, those Niueans was taken, and then how many the other fella found his way back. I think there's a book on it as well. He found his way back home.
From South America
Niue. Back to Niue again,
There's a book on it.
There's a book on it, and
I want to read this book.
I forgot what it's called, but I'll send you the picture.
Imagine that journey.
Yes, brother. So just imagine the people thinking that he'll never come back, and he's thinking he'll never probably come back. Just imagine that story, brother. Far out.
And there's no communication, there's no cell phones. There's
like we was talking about.
Just turns up.
Even worse that time,
Yeah.
Bottle even, letter in the bottle kind of thing, Yes, man, but yeah.
Humans do some crazy
And
stuff.
I think at that time, telepathy would have been, like we had our seers, we had our people in our own, circles that do that thing, Even before the priests come from overseas, before,
right.
we
I see
had
what
our
you're
own,
saying.
spiritual leaders and, people who could sort of tell a bit of the future. And
Yeah, I did hear of one Tongan survivor that got back to somewhere in Tahiti.
Oh, yeah.
Landed back in Tahiti and stayed there and married and so there's like a family of part Tongans in Tahiti now.
Beautiful, man.
That
you guys everywhere, brother. It's Fiji, plenty there too. Somewhere, there's the Raiders of the Pacific.
Tongans,
Ma'afu was one of the original Council of Chiefs for Fiji. I guess you knew that already. But,
no, I didn't.
Yeah, so when the Council of Chiefs was formed, when the Palangis come as well, from in the 1800s, so Ma'afu was there. He was already in the Lau group. Because every year there's a current that comes from Tonga to Fiji and same out. So that's why all the Lau group in Eastern Fiji is called is connected to Lau and connected to Tonga. Sorry.
Yes, that's
so
right.
Ma'afu came there and he went to Lakemba first, but then he saw he saw the big island and he's like, I want that island. So he took his right hand man was Wainingolo, and his second right hand man was second lieutenant was Fifita. So it sent Fifita with Yasawas, and then that whole of Lau group was him. So he was Tui Lau, king of the Lau group.
Wow.
So within the Council of Chiefs, that was his domain, his area. So so you had Vakombau, you had all the different other ratus from different provinces. Yeah, I think there's 14 or something provinces and 3 confederacies. Yeah, but he was a real risk for Fiji. He was a real thorn in Vakombau's side.
I bet.
And and lucky we had the military. See, we had the English to come and cede Fiji to him, and then Ma'afu to, but at the same time to preserve Tongan in the Lau group. So we always had a tui of the Lau group that protected the culture and of Fiji and Tonga together. And also Samoa came down there too, because the island of Kambara is where everything was made.
Okay.
The drua, the big double hull canoes, and only ratus from those islands, only chiefs could get it. So that's why we married into each other.
Did you just say that's a type of tree? Is it a tree that's
so there's
used to make double-hulled canoes?
So there's Vesi tree and there's the Fijian kauri.
And it only grows there?
And so it grows in the Lau group in Fiji. And that's why Samoa, Tonga, Fiji was it. And they had a navigation school in Samoa. So what we have in the libraries in the 1800s, they used to have 12, 13-year-olds drawing maps of different islands, even Tahiti. And they were known as the navigation school in Upolu.
From as young as 12 and 13?
From as young, so you can see Sione and then he's drawing and his sort of, his map of a different island or something like that. And then,
How does he know to draw the map though?
So they have their school. The navigation school was in Upolu.
Okay.
Yeah. And then builders from Tonga and then wood from Fiji. So we all meet in Fiji. And then you do your mataisau, your carving and stuff like that. But you can't get a ndrua, a double hull canoe, unless you're a chiefly. So that's how we married into each other, Tonga, Samoa, Fiji. So we married into chiefly sites, so we can take the ndruas back, the double hull canoes and the red feathers.
What's the red feathers?
The cooler birds in Fiji, the red feathers for you guys, your hair pieces and stuff.
Oh,
red feathers is very precious,
Yeah.
For Tongan and Samoan as well. Yeah. So it's like a chiefly thing too, Yeah. So those were the 2 things from Fiji, the wood and
That's such a cool system.
Yeah, so we had that
how
system
it worked
before the missionaries come and then they split.
Sounds to me like we kind of had it worked out.
We had it worked out, bro. Yeah. They're like, oh no, it's so see, they come and cause trouble. Okay, throw the Indians in there, just a bit more trouble.
Damn, yeah. Separate them completely.
Yeah, so get more. Yeah. So made it divide and conquer, that kind of. But we were good, bro. Yeah.
Well, you really see it.
They used Tonga to come into Fiji. So the name Fiji came from Tonga. Because you guys used to call us Fisi.
We still do.
Yeah. So that's when the Englishman heard Fisi. Oh, that's the Fijis. But they used to call us the Cannibal Isles before they knew that it would be Fiji or Viti. Viti is the real, because Viti from Viti you guys call us Fiji. Yeah, because we Fijians call it Viti.
Translation,
Because Tongans call us Fiji, so they call it, let's call it the Fijis. So it was the Fijis, it was the Fiji Islands, the Feegee Islands, and then Fiji from Fiji and from Viti, from Samoa, and because no F in Fijian, V, everything's V. So F for Fiji, Viti.
So there's no actual F in your language?
There's no F, but Tonga brought it through Lao. F and J and P.
We need to change the name of your country if there's no F in your actual alphabet.
Yeah. So Viti is our Itaukei name for Fiji. So the indigenous name for Fiji is Viti. Yeah.
I'll tell you something else that's interesting. Ha'amoa and Samoa.
Yeah.
Because Tongans always pronounce we call it Samoa. No, we call it Ha'amoa. Ha'amoa, but they call it, they've always known as Samoa. But again, it goes back to that historical difference in alphabet as well.
And that H too is a big one too, even in the Fiji alphabet. Fijians don't have H. But the J is come from there as well, Choeli. The J is like a CH. Choeli. And the C is the TH, the.
We don't have a C.
Yeah.
Tongans don't have a C.
But it's not pronounced C, it's TH. Like Mothe, Mbaye.
Yeah.
MOCE, Mothe. Wow. Yeah. And then the Q is the Nga.
Yeah.
Ngalo, or swim or something like that. Yeah. And the B is, people just say Bula, but it's not that. It's an M before the B. Mbula.
Yeah? I never knew that.
Yeah. And then Nandi, there's an N before the D. Nandi instead of Nandi. Nandi. So you'll see Nadi, but it's pronounced Nandi. Yeah. So there's an N before the D and there's an M before the B. Yeah.
Always.
Also Mbula. So you actually Mbula. Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
And especially with the kids. So like, Nongu means mine. So my son was saying Noku. Yeah. And it's not Noku, son. It's Nongu. But you see Noqu,
Yeah.
But it's Nongu, There's like an N before the Q again. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Really, breaks it up, But it's sort of different light as well, going up there.
I suppose it's really important to teach the new generation like how to pronounce things properly.
That's the thing.
Because from reading, obviously if you're reading it, you're reading it naturally with like a Western pronunciation already in your mind.
Yeah, and we could just hear the Maori ones,
Yeah.
Manukau, isn't it? We were telling the boys, hey, it's not Manukau, or it's not Mangre, what? Mangre. It's like, just trying to say it.
Say it properly.
Say it properly, yeah. And I think that's like you said, the hymns, you actually singing it,
So because you're singing it, you're in the rhythm.
Like with reading it, you can just say, I don't pronounce it wrongly, but when you're singing it,
you can't get it wrong.
Yeah, no, I heard the Tongan guy singing, or I have to sing like the Tongan guy. Yeah. So, and the same thing in those places in Laos, they dress like you guys, Tauvala and everything,
Is that right?
Yeah, different villages would have their Tauvala, have their Masi, half Natu, half Masi, Fijian Natu and Tongan Masi, and cross together. Even with the language, with the laka, the dancing,
It's similar.
It's similar, Yeah.
Man, I know what I'm looking up on YouTube tonight.
Yeah, bro.
Look up the Lao group.
Go for the Lao group, La Kemba is big. A lot of people, I think you guys call it La Kepa as well. You guys got something like La Kepa. Yeah. So it's a lot of...
the history of those three island nations that goes back and how they're so intertwined with each other is so relevant and so important.
Yeah, man. And the place there, Vanuatu, is where Mafu set his thing there, and he was reporting straight to King George.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing, those guys. And yes, like I said, the English used them to come into Fiji. Yeah. Because Kamali is to Fiji, Cannibal Isles was chasing them to Tonga, and that's why they're friendly isles. Oh, we went to the friendly isles of Tonga, and they showed us
welcomed
Fiji. They gave us the name Fiji. Yeah. So they first heard it from you guys, and then Captain Cook got your tapa cloth, and then that's the one we got in the book. Yeah. They actually cut it up into 66 books. they can make money around the world.
I see.
Yeah, so I think there was 14 from Tahiti, there was 19 from Hawaii, there was 4 from Tonga, and 1 from Jamaica. So Jamaican, they used to make baskets and all out of the masi reefs. Yeah. And just amazing. Natural. Eh? So how you do your kupesi boards?
Yeah.
It was like on a bark of tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's fascinating is that it's the most vast place in the world, the Pacific Ocean.
That's right. I
It's the
guess.
most vast place in the world.
And I guess it was
but
like,
yet it was navigated, so, you know.
That's why they couldn't get over Tupai as well, you know. It's like, man, shucks, this fellow knows all the place. Yeah, he's been mucking around with all these islanders from before we came. And he's full acting like the priest and all. I don't know, he knows everyone already. Oh, Tonga, I've been to Tonga, I've been there, Fiji. Oh, man.
But yeah, the Pacific, the richness of the Pacific is so important.
And it would be any sailor's dream or, you know, explorer's dream, eh? Especially to get in the vast ocean. And it's tricky as well. It's not as easy as there.
No, yeah.
Like we could go straight up north to Fiji, but if you go there, you'll end up in Tonga because of the currents.
Will.
So you have to go out this way, come around, far around.
You hear that there was a canoe that did a canoe that navigated and went around. I think it was in 2018 that went around the world using that same solar system, that same system of by the stars only.
Boy.
Yeah,
that would have been amazing.
Yeah, so it can be done.
Yeah,
and there have been papers written on, you know, the theory of like how stars align and the way but just the way our people memorized that and used and remembered like as well the seasons of like, you know, like when each stars would be visible at which parts of the sky. That's and right. How to follow them and where they would change to. And
they were just in their telepathy and all that kind of thing was amazing. Because even with the charts, you know, the maps, they put it on the shore, they would trace it out, but they would memorize it in the form of a chant.
So after they just draw it out,
they put it on
the sand.
It's actually a map, a chart map, you know, like sticks.
You know, right.
In different places.
Just on the ground.
Yeah, on the ground. And this is probably Micronesians. And then boom, okay, so this is the island, but they'll make a chant. Like, okay, this is the chorus for the chant, we're going to go, this is going to follow this star. They leave the map on the land. Then they go in the boat and they'll chant. The chant is going to keep them going to these different islands.
Wow.
So follow that star, okay, keep on, and, you know, and they just keep on chanting, you know, okay, cool. Okay, it's still online, yeah. Like, follow that star, okay, follow that island, or you'll come to a certain island, and then next side to the island is the island, you know, sort of thing. So that's how they used to do it. But they actually leave the map on the after they made it and they've memorized it through a chant, and then they go. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and then the next generation.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going now, son. I've put this chant together for you, you know. Yeah. So okay, I'll take it. And same with other practices, you know, even with the fang fang. Okay. This is a tune that I'll leave with you, my son. Leave this gift with you, eh? Yeah. Another one is the Ndauni Voodoo in Fiji. He doesn't write, he goes to sleep. But he hears the chant. And then he sees a man dancing, he's going to teach the man's dance to the man, teach the woman's dance to the woman, teach the chant to the woman and the man. But he just sleeps and he dreams about all these things. And then when he wakes up, he teaches the whole villages, and you know, and that's how the traditions carry on as well. And then you have to pass on as well. But passing on is just probably means like, oh, I just brought some vakarolo fish and some dalo and some taro leaves, and that's the gift. It looks like food, you're going to eat food, but it's the food for your mana, your gift. And it's like, oh, he didn't give me anything. And said, that's what he gave you. The food or whatever he gave you, that's the gift inside. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Just amazing stories, yeah. So
it's the power of culture.
Yes, Russ, you know, and we won't understand what's there, but they know what's happening you know, within that setting as well. It's like I brought this guy here. He was the master chanter Ndauni Voodoo, first time on a plane, 67 years old, 2018 for the Pacific Summit, Art Summit. They wanted 5 indigenous artists from Fiji, and I brought this guy, first time out of Fiji, first time out of his village, Bao, up north, and then he just came to Wellington. He was freaking out on all these buildings and all. But he danced. He could go right down. I think I'd probably be less fit than he was.
The flexibility and everything.
Man, he was chanting and dancing at the same time, and doing all the hard moves and stuff. I was like already
puffed.
I was already puffed just looking at him.
It's a workout, eh? It's a workout,
And he just like nothing was over. He was looking at everyone and just like, But it doesn't take money for anything, but just grog and kava and cigarettes, whatever you keep. Yeah.
When I told you that my dad would get me to dance, like I didn't just mean dance to like a cassette playing. I meant like I sang and danced and did all the movement and sang.
Dance,
and I'd be puffed at the end. It was a workout.
I mean, even young fellas, that is it.
But that's how you're taught to dance, is like to sing at the same time as you're doing all the actions.
The breathing and all that too.
Yeah.
Fire, man, that's the warriors, they do that shit. It's like far out, man. Even before the war, you already finished. Just watching them dance. Shit, I'm already tired, man. When's the war? Can I rest before we go? But there was a war on Saturday, that rugby game, far out.
It was definitely a war.
Shucks, I saw those Fijians there. I was thinking, fuck, this looked like they back in these times where they were ready for war. You have like 200 of them doing the spear dance and stuff like that. It's like, shit.
Oh, they weren't mucking around.
No,
they
you saw
were
them
not
really in
around.
that space, eh? It's like beasts walking around the playground, eh?
And every opportunity just to intimidate.
They actually, they just went hard, eh, bro? It's the first time I've seen All Blacks a bit, standoffish, eh? And it's like, didn't know how to take them. It's like, what's that?
I remember when Tonga first ever played the All Blacks, and it was at one of the opening games for a World Cup. This would be in 1999. I believe it would have been in the UK. I know this because we didn't have a TV at home in Tonga. I had to get up early and go outside my neighbour's house and watch through the louvers.
Like we did.
But it wasn't just me. Like all my mates were there as well beside me. We were standing there watching. And the Tongan team came out. It was the first time they were ever going to play the All Blacks. And Jonah Loma was playing in that team. So was Tana Umanga. But the Tongan team came out completely red. Like red shoes, red socks, all the way up to red hair.
Whoa,
they were all in red. All in red. And I remember that feeling of pride just watching that. And then when it started, oh my God. I think Tana Umanga got taken out by the throat. One of the first tackles was he was hit around the throat.
Those guys came fierce.
They came to hit.
Yeah.
Because because they seen all these guys on TV their whole lives.
Yeah,
this is their one opportunity to touch them. Not just touch them,
prove them,
but make some damage, And but no one could really get close to Jonah. But I do remember some of the other players getting seriously some big hits went into that game. They played with passion. And at halftime it was 19 to 40, I think.
Shucks,
19 to 40, but then like I said, 60 minutes All Blacks take off. But
man, they've been awesome.
When our Pacific people when they come to play,
when they got that spirit, that fighting spirit, the warrior spirit, it just comes out on the field, bro. Oh man, saw that on Saturday. It's ironic that Tonga's league team is named Mate Tonga. Die for Tonga. That's right.
It's ironic that it's called that, but because I don't think they need any more encouragement.
That's right. Definitely die for Tonga, bro. No, man. Boy, I just saw that, man. I saw that league game far out. You never forget it, eh? Just the sea of red,
Daren, I told someone else that said here, I've never cried watching that game.
I mean,
I was in the lounge with my kids, and I just remember them. It was when they beat New Zealand.
I
was just, I couldn't speak for a little bit. It was just the tears, because
for a minute.
my kids are just staring at me like,
Dad, what's wrong with your eyes?
Mom, what's wrong with Dad? I was just so caught up, because I've been like a rugby and a league fan all my life, and never have I ever thought
And
that
witness the
and been here to witness like our own team. But that's how passionate our people are about the game, you know. And it means so much because it's not just a team that we're supporting. It's our people. It's our people.
The whole nation, you know.
Yeah.
For 80 minutes, Fiji forgot about what was happening at home. We were just like, boom, come on, Viti. And then there, you know. And I guess that's what they wanted to, you know, just take our mind off of, you know, just even if it's for 80 minutes, you know.
But the thing is, see, like, and I'm not even Fijian, but I know that, like, I know for all the Fijians out there, win or lose,
yes,
they're proud.
They're proud, yeah.
Proud of what,
just like
of
all
what
of our
guys,
islanders, brother, you know.
Proud.
Tonga, yeah. And then even when we playing other, you know, like Tonga was playing a big country, bro, go, so, you know, we support each other because we know, you know. We can make a difference with us, you know. We come from a small. What does Epele offer? Say, don't measure us by the size of our islands, but the massness of our ocean. Yeah, so something like that. It's just amazing.
Is that from Epele Hauofa?
Yeah,
that's a great quote.
Yeah, man.
Because our islands are dots.
Yeah, dots. So don't underestimate it.
Don't underestimate the biggest ocean in the world. It's the biggest,
bro. Yeah. I mean, we look at Kiribati. Kiribati has got the largest space of all of us in the Pacific.
Right.
Ocean mass, in terms of boundary of ocean, but in terms of land, it's small,
Yeah.
So that's probably, that's how we can look at it, you know. So a needle in the haystack kind of thing, but we make a real difference when it's, you know. Yeah. I guess anything starts off small and then it becomes boom.
That's so true. Yeah. If you believe in it. Yeah. It depends on how much people believe in it.
That's right. Yeah.
Anything starts off small. Starts off from a small idea.
Yeah.
Little flicker.
Yeah.
You know?
But we can say we come from small islands, you know, if we go to international stuff, it's like, oh, where's Tonga? Where's Fiji? Or, you know, especially where's Tonga? You know, it's like, yeah. But Tongans everywhere, bro. Like you said.
Wow, I was in a pub in Liverpool. About 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And drinking with these guys and trying to explain to them where Tonga was, right? And they just didn't get it. They didn't get it. And then I was trying to think of like how to connect the dots here.
Yeah.
And then I was like, maybe rugby. And I was like, Jonah Lomo.
Yes.
Instantly.
Jonah Lomo.
Oh, fucking Jonah Lomo. Jonah Lomo.
I thought he was Maori. Yeah. They was
instantly, like, you know. And I was stunned for a second because I was like, shit, I'm on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And in a pub.
And just mention his name.
Just mention someone's name and
yeah. It's powerful, brother. You're far around. Yeah, we were there last 2019 when the All Blacks played England in the semi-finals, was it? Yeah. Yeah, we were there in England, London.
Were you there at the game?
We were watching the.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Like, damn, and they lost there.
Yeah, that was a strong English side. That was well deserving.
Yeah, I saw that
really
too.
Deserved that. They just wouldn't stop. They were
relentless. Just went on. Yeah, that's right. Big fellas to those guys, man.
You have to appreciate good rugby sometimes.
That's right, man.
And you have to lose in grace.
That's right, bro. That's right.
You have to lose in grace. Be graceful about it, you know? Nothing worse than... But we both know, you know, whenever the All Blacks lose at a World Cup, it's like a funeral descends.
Wait, that's right,
you know? I like this morning, I felt for... all the English supporters.
Oh, with the soccer, yeah.
Soccer, yeah. Because they lost like they went overtime,
penalty
shootout, and they haven't won it in like about 60 years, I think. Yeah, a long time. They came so close.
Another 60. That's probably what they're really pissed off with.
Gonna be another 60.
Man, but I heard that the COVID was still pretty bad, and most of them just went to the games and stuff.
I didn't. So do they still have crowds? And
yeah, it was packed out, 66,000 or something.
I guess we'll find out next week.
Yeah, COVID was having a field day there, so COVID won at the end.
Oh yeah, way.
True that, bro. But see, we think our people are but even overseas, the English they just like far out. Die hard fans,
Yeah.
And soccer is like far out. They go to the next level, bro. You know, at least rugby doesn't get really violent. Those guys get really violent.
But that's what I mean about like the way we support our teams. It doesn't matter too much whether they win or lose. Like we're there for our people.
That's right. We'll fly the flag anyway.
Even if they lose. Even if they lose, there's still gonna be a parade through Otahu.
That's right. Horns and all.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You know,
That's
like
awesome,
it's never like an aggressive.
No,
like they're gonna
celebration. You know,
But man, sometimes in England, man, if some of those teams lose, if like Liverpool loses or Manchester, man, some houses are gonna get rocks thrown through. You know, like some cars get overturned. There's gonna be some riots.
Soccer game, really hardcore fans, bro.
Yeah.
Damn. People go to hospital and stuff. Far out, man.
Because it represents something different to them than what it does to us. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's right,
it's to win for them is so important, but.
I mean, it's like an ego thing for them, eh? I mean, it's ego for us, but we are, humble pride.
Yeah. But then, like we know a lot of Warriors supporters that jump ship.
That's right. That happens every year. All of a sudden. Okay, sorry, I'm fed up.
That happens every year.
Sucks, man.
Every year starts off. It's the Sao year. It's the Sao year.
Next minute, That's it, eh? I guess that's probably like the All Blacks at the World Cup, Towards the semi-finals, we start to get nervous and shit, which might be, will they reach the finals? What's going to happen here? But sometimes they are so strong, they look strong, and, you never know when those teams step up especially France, how they step up in this Rugby World Cup and stuff around.
France got beaten by Tonga. Do you remember that? In that same World Cup?
That's right.
France got beaten by Tonga in Wellington.
That's right.
In the pool games.
Was it 2011?
2011, yeah.
2011, yeah. That's right, brother. Tonga really did well. They played Australia.
Well, Tonga had like its own internal stuff happening, and they weren't functioning well as a team, and so they lost against Canada. They lost against Canada in their pool games. But if they had won that little game against Canada, which was up in Whangarei, they would have gone through, and France would have been dropped out.
That's right, bro. Oh, damn, that's right. They lost against Canada.
Yeah.
But like the last World Cup, Fiji was slack. Uruguay or something. They lost against Uruguay. Yeah. They had a pretty easy pool too. But it's never easy when you come to the World Cup.
No.
Yeah.
Some
of those lower teams too, they step up.
Yeah.
Argentina is pretty strong too, eh?
Yeah. Argentina beat the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Their
forward pack is amazing.
Continuously just developing and developing,
Man, these are far out.
Yeah. When is the next Rugby World Cup? Is it next year? Supposed to be next year?
Maybe. Oh, yeah, it could be next year. Or 2013, eh? 2019, 2020, 2021. 2022, eh?
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Olympics this year.
Yeah. It's a little bit unfair though, because the world champs themselves, South Africa, hasn't played in 2 years.
Oh, far true that.
They didn't play at all last year. They didn't have another team this year.
Why is that, bro?
Because of how bad COVID has affected their country.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for them.
Far, that's sad, man. That's one of the that's right.
Yeah, and they are the current champs.
I bet all these other teams are happy. They're not there. Yeah. Even the All Blacks are happy.
But like the way the All Blacks played on last weekend, South Africa would have taken them to the cleaners.
That's right, bro. I mean, the All Blacks look a bit small, bro, last week. On the field, I was like, compared to the Fijians, like, shucks, these guys look a bit small.
They are. And I don't know, like, whether for speed or for fitness, but they really are.
Yeah.
They really are. Yeah.
Because it just looked like they were pushed around, bro,
They were bullied. They were bullied, man.
They were bullied. I was saying, am I looking at this
They
right?
were bullied, yeah. Because normally you're used to seeing the All Blacks as like real big.
Yeah, intimidating to others.
Yeah, like people like Jerome Kaino, Martin Rondo, like solid, like people you don't want to mess with.
No.
But it's a bit different, eh?
Yeah,
it's like they got the build is generally smaller.
Yeah. Maybe because probably the Fijians were a bit taller and even the backs look like a bit of like it's for the back or forward or
Do you know that's always the case of Pacific Island teams?
Don't know who's the back end.
You never know who's the back and who's the forward.
All these Palangi teams
all just big.
What the hell?
all just big.
Look at that wing. Especially Jonah, he would have really intimidated everyone.
Yeah.
It's like one big house running at you.
Yeah. One of my friends said he used to play against Jonah in high school. And he said...
And even high school is...
Yeah, he said when Jonah got the ball, there's no point in trying to chase Jonah. They just turn to their back flag and race to try and get there before Jonah. Yeah, that's how crazy. There's no point trying to chase him. Just go for the back flag and hope you get there before him.
You know, a small fella who I've seen at least tackle Jonah was Gregan.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, no, it's like, man, I saw this small fella just holding on for
dear life, but tenacity. And
he had some kind of technique as well.
Yeah.
For a small guy, he was like far out.
Man, Grieger was awesome.
Oh, bro, he was a
he used to piss me off, man.
He's everywhere. Like a little,
and his mouth,
like a little,
like all the time.
Yeah,
man.
the mouth too.
He was awesome. He was,
No, it was good.
He has a great personality.
That's right.
George
He used to get
Gregan.
on their nerves, And the
Get on everyone's nerves.
Jonas was like, what the hell? I don't know. Go in this.
He's like one of those players that you just want somebody like to just really smash properly, you know. But he's so good, it would never happen.
Never get it. Yeah. It's like, okay, this game is gonna get smashed. Nah.
Yeah. He was such a good player.
Yeah, he was amazing, brother. Far out. Yes,
I heard that because there was that famous rivalry between him and Justin Marshall, through that era. But I heard that sort of off the field, like whenever they're over in each other's countries, they'd have like a barbecue on Sunday.
Yeah.
I'll put for you, bro.
Yeah.
It's a bit awkward in this.
I have to feed it right out there.
But where there's a will.
Where there's red wine, there's
red wine.
Cheers, my brother. Yes.
Do you like the Pinot?
Malo taco. Oh, brother.
I love the request because I always ask everybody what their request is, and when you say Pinot Noir, it's like it has to be Central Otago.
Sweet, brother. Tastes so good, man. No, I love your setup here, my bro. So
Thank you, bro.
How many interviews you've done?
You are number 20.
Wow, man.
There's one of them I couldn't broadcast. You're number 20.
20, yeah. Far out.
Yeah.
So you started last year?
I started end of last year, December. Yeah. At first it was like one a week.
Yeah.
But then, as you can see, because it's like set up in the garage around my family as well.
Yeah.
We decided to drop it back to like one every sort of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just to sort of take the stress off us.
Fair enough.
Like setting everything up and stuff.
Especially with your fames, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good setup, my bro.
Oh, it's pretty simple, really.
Yeah. No, and then when I look online, it looks good, eh? It looks awesome, especially with this background. Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, and alcohol. Okay,
that's my father-in-law's fridge.
Oh yeah.
And all those wine bottles.
Can I borrow?
all those wine bottles that empty, bro.
I was like, damn, I better come and check some of this wine, man.
That empty, bro.
Good look though. The real island stuff.
And I made that in high school when I was in Form 2. The hakalo, the coconut scraper. Yeah, that was my Form 2 handicrafts project.
Still going, yeah, brother. That's a solid one too, bro.
Yeah.
Yes. And your medals?
Various medals. Me and Nora from either CrossFit or running, or some of my son's medals there. Awesome, one of my sons won his cross country race. Yeah, family medals.
Choice, man. Yeah. How you a long time here?
What's that?
Staying in this place?
I've been here a few years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sister and them is the other side.
Oh, okay.
Wattle Downs, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I said, man, you guys should have just moved to Hamilton because we stay right up in Titirangi.
It's actually a long way, yeah. It's a long way, yeah.
So mom stays in the middle in Sandringham, so like, okay, we just meet in Sandringham.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a long way.
But they've got a swimming pool, so summertime we're there. Never mind, long way. Say, okay, we bring the kids.
Darren, it's been a real pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for this treasure.
You're welcome, bro.
This is out for sale, isn't it?
Yes.
So where can people find this?
It's in Unity Bookstore.
Unity Bookstore.
And Coverbowl Media.com.
We'll sell it.
Yeah, so they can order it online.
Awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to reading this.
Yes, sir. Thanks,
brother. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Yes, sir. Thank you, bro.
With all my heart, man, like I really hope that the pandemic settles down in Fiji as well.
Thank you, my bro. I hope so too.
Because anything that affects Fiji, affects us, man.
Yes, definitely, man. And
Yeah.
thank you, bro. Thanks for the support. Naka, bro.
All good, brother.
Yeah.
Peace, brother. Peace.
Peace.
Into that mic on Mike. Yeah, Garage Drinks with Mike. Woo!